Good morning, and welcome to Finally Friday. It is finally Friday wherever you are here in the United States. In other places, it just might be Saturday. Wherever you're listening from, near or far, I want to thank you for joining us as you do and as you always will. Thank you. As you know, Finally Friday is always at the end of the week. And when you are facing challenges, how's your week been? For the various challenges that you have faced. Are your challenges helping you? Are they really increasing in you the best possible you that you could be? Well, that's what Finally Friday is all about. You know, you see images of Finally Friday, and some say no rush to get here, while others are looking forward to their weekend. We say we're so glad that you have challenged yourself to be at yet another Friday. Thank you for joining us. We'll be right back after this message. You are here with us at Vibe Talk Facing the Lion podcast. For those of you who don't know, we have been in production for 3 years. You can find our personal page right on Facebook. If you like Vibe Talk Facing the Lion, do yourself a favor. While we appreciate you and love to have you as a live audience, go on over and click that button, if you will. Look for us on Instagram, and please subscribe to our YouTube pages. We start the morning out by being thankful, and we ask you, what are you thankful for? Is there anything that you are thankful for or can inspire someone to be more thankful for? We want to hear your stories. We're here for you as we face our challenges together, which in actuality is our phrase of facing the lion. Facing the lion. I want to talk about paying it forward. It's been on my mind as scheduled podcast conversation. We need more of it. I am thankful for paying it forward, looking for opportunities, because so many people have done it with me. How about yourself? We want to hear from you. If there has been a time where you have had someone actually pay it forward to you, what's the feel good from it, and how did it make you feel? Were you inspired to pay it forward through others? I'll tell you something that happened to me just last week. Powerful story. And we're going to be right back after these brief messages. We'll be right back. You want a brief one-on-one? Vibe Talk Facing the Lion has that for you and your wellness. How do you find Vibe Talk Facing the Lion podcast? you can simply go to your Google or ask Alexa or Siri. You also can find us through your major search engines. You want to make an appointment one-on-one anywhere, your job, your school, your car, your work, your recreation, even your couch. We are here for you virtually. Just click onto our page at facebook.com/vibe-talk. We're here for you. Just look for the Lion Facing the Lion podcast. We are back, and thank you for joining us. We are talking about facing challenges. While facing challenging situations or circumstances can be good or challenging, we don't always talk about the negativity. We try not to, but we do deal with the negative parts of ourselves that we all have, and we turn them into positivity by our feel-good conquering our emotions and feelings. How many of you have ever had a paying it forward is always doing a kindness unexpectedly. You know, many of us have been in situations where people are being kind toward you for no strings attached, just to be kind. How many of you have done that? Well, I got a story for you recently that happened to me, and it really is facing the lions, facing challenges, because you never know a person's situation. While I was taking care of my business things, I was in line and I noticed a little boy was in conversation with his mommy. I maybe was about maybe six. And this little boy was very upset that his mom was trying to explain to him that she couldn't give him whatever he was asking for, that she would pay half of whatever it was that he wanted, some kind of toy. And as I listened to this conversation, she was trying to explain to this very young child, he wasn't throwing a fit, he was not doing that, but you could tell that by his reaction, he was not trying to hear it. He was not trying to hear it. So, because I know as a parent how that situation can be, turns out that because I do love kids, not having known the story, I had some money in my pocket. That's for the day. And I shared with him money. His face lit up, and turns out he had enough to buy the toy. Come to find out that his mommy was so happy. I could really see that his mother was so happy, and I made him smile. He was not throwing a fit. Let's get that straight, ladies and gentlemen, while I relate this paying it forward story. Comes unbeknownst to me that this young child had lost his money. He lost the money in the store that they went to prior to coming to where I was. And there were onlookers, and I want to tell you something. I don't care about that. But when I did that, I noticed that the adults were so happy for that little boy. what was happening in my mind and the experience of this little boy was that I remember when my children were that age, and no matter what happened, they would not and could not understand that we just didn't have the money at that point. And my mind immediately went back to that experience and putting myself in that mother's place. You want to buy something and your child has lost the money, or you don't have the money. Didn't know the story, but gave it to him because my mind reflected that. That little boy ended up being the happiest little boy because he said to his mommy, "Look, Mommy, now I can buy my toy." That made me happy. Is that not a feel-good story for you all when you are able to make someone smile? When someone that you don't know, you have paid it forward to them. How many of you have done that? And if so, we want to hear your story even when we're not on air. We would love to hear your story. That is what Vibe Talk is all about. In case this is the first time that you all have heard of Vibe Talk Facing the Lion podcast, please join us. We want you to follow us. We want you to be part of our audience, because this is where you get to make someone else's day by telling your stories of inspiration, motivation, and challenging them toward doing good. So we hope that that is a feel-good story. Today is your day to be able to help someone else on this finally Friday. There has been many times where myself, I have been, unbeknownst to the stranger that paid it forward to me, paying it forward by a kindness. People have paid for groceries. People have bought lunch. There was another time where I was actually on a break. It was a weekend, and I was doing some shopping, stopped off to have lunch, and was sitting at the table very quietly. Sometimes I do have quiet times, and I enjoy those times. So this was one of those days. And here I was in a very famous restaurant and ordering my lunch, waiting for the waiter to come back so that I could order what I wanted to eat. Out of nowhere comes a gentleman that says to me, "Did you already pay for your lunch?" "No, but I'm waiting for the waiter." "Well, I got you. Order anything you want." You know. What the motives are, you never question. I look at the kindness, because kindness never kills anyone. These feel-good stories and why people do what they do is not the motive. But if you've experienced this kind of humanity or kindness, then you know exactly what I'm talking about. There are times, ladies and gentlemen, where there have been, where people are supposed to give because they say it is the season, or remember that there are starving children or people that don't have what you or I necessarily have. Do we count our blessings? I've always asked this question, and see if you're with me on this. Join in the conversations, please. That's why we're here. Why do we have to do that once a year? To be thankful. Why is it a season to be kind when that should spread out throughout our lives? I've even met people in life that have experienced not so well emotions. Maybe their lives have not been all that charming or all that fairy tale, but yet they know how to establish real kindness. Have you ever met someone like that? I know so many stories like that, so many real-to-life stories, real-to-life experiences. What do we take home from paying it forward to someone? What do we take home from that, if we can? Sometimes we have to remember that paying it forward is not always having to do with financial gain. Paying it forward could be stories of humanity. You know, just like with the little boy. It just made me think about my boys when I was a mom, and things were not always financially well. You've got to get other things done. The thing that I took home from that little boy was that he was not in any way screaming and ranting and raving. It was a real conversation between a mother and a son. And like I said in the beginning of our conversation together, I did not know the situation. I did not know the people. I've never seen them in my lifetime. But here's what I know. From the experience of the little boy, he really actually wanted that toy, as all kids do, but most kids are screaming, and you know that they can't have something because there is he or she being led by the hand begrudgingly while they scream and yell through the stores. Now, I know you guys have seen that. We're not talking about that. Whatever was going on, the little boy could not understand how he lost his money. And he was very upset. And yet his mother bargained with him that she would pay half. Now, the mother and I, not knowing each other, obviously was in a situation where she couldn't afford it, or perhaps of helping him learn responsibility. But I'm going to give it a go because I love the way the little boy responded in conversation. It was like having an old soul inside of that little 6-year-old's body. He was so happy. He was so happy. Don't you just love it when you see the smile of someone? And if nothing else, the smile makes you feel good. Stay with us. Stay tuned. We'll be right back. You want to get together with Vibe Talk Facing the Lion podcast? Join us on our very own Facebook page. We also have Instagram. Look for us on your social media sites. You can even Google us and ask Alexa or Siri for Vibe Talk Facing the Lion podcast. We are back. Thank you for joining us. So we are talking about facing the challenges. And facing the challenges are not always things that demean us, things that make us feel pain, but facing challenges could mean joy for us, feel goods for us in facing our lions. It's finally Friday around here, and we want to hear from you. What's your Friday looking like? And have you ever had the experience of someone paying it forward? We hear a lot of stories. You know, you will have a lot of good stories about cats and dogs and rescue and how you would help animals. But I want to connect you to something that is so well and so good. We hear stories and stories of that. But sometimes we just need to help rescue other humans. Now I want you to think about that for a moment. How does that fit in your life? I've always had the question of people paying attention to other people. And a lot of times in this wellness coaching, the answers that I get do not surprise me, because you all have an answer of people are hurtful. People cause pain. People don't know how to love. But sometimes it starts with us just to put a smile on someone's face. Now, why are we talking about this on Facing the Lion? Facing challenges? Because it is challenging to be kind to human. Especially when some of us have not known kindness. And that start of being unkind has happened in our very own households from the time that perhaps you were growing up. We know that it's out there. But we want you to remember that connection with human, connection with yourself first, because that's the way that you're going to be able to experience the reach up and reach out. You sometimes have to learn that through your life's course. Now, why is there such a disconnection to human? Because I see you, I hear you. There's so many beautiful stories about so many of you that have rescued animals. We love it. Keep going. Keep doing it. You have saved animals from abusive situations. You have taken strays in. There's even so much about people building animal shelters on their own doing this. We applaud you for that. We do. And we don't want you to stop doing that. But we do want you to pay attention. Could it be in your life that you haven't really paid much attention to perhaps the neighbor, the person that you rely on to bring your mail to you, the grocery person? I want to tell you something that has been such a beautiful blessing, to just be able to find someone in your day-to-day activity that you have said to them, I appreciate you. How many of you have used that word? And before you think about it, before you are ready to pounce on this, I need you to do a little forethought, because we don't say that as often as we should. The same as we don't say how thankful we are for the things we truly do have and that someone else may not have. Have you and I really taken the time to really appreciate these people? The grocers who help bag our foods. In most grocery stores, there are some grocery stores that you go to and you must bag your own food, and that's okay. But someone who's helped us through the day, can you recall in your mind those ones that have done exactly that? This is also for Think About Thursday, which was yesterday. We want to inspire you to use the verbiage, I appreciate you. I'm finding that as we come in, here's what we do, and you'll find it when you listen to our prior podcast. We open the morning with, what are you thankful for? Now let me ask you something. Why do you suppose that we open the morning with, what are you thankful for, and why? How many times has someone asked you that in the last week or so? Now, as you reflect, because that's what we do in Vibe Talk, and that's what I do individually with my clients, help them to decide for themselves what to think and how to feel. I don't give the answers, but I want to inspire you to think about things. The reason that we ask, what are you thankful for and why? Because we could be a podcast that have nothing but 1, 2, 10, 20 complainers. And I like to change that word complaining, because we understand coming from you, it's not complaining. It is the way that you feel. And that's what we want to get down to, your emotion and your experience of the way you feel. With that being said, we want to think about how we can change it. Sometimes we have no control over people. Most of the time, that is. But here's what we do. We have control about how we feel, how we think, and how we act. We have control over that. And if I didn't mention it, we have control over what we speak. So, we focus on being more thankful. You know, some people have had to live in their car, and we say, well, there's another homeless person. Why didn't they pay their rent? Don't we say that? But yet, we don't know the sides of the spectrum. We don't know the whole story. We don't know if that person has woken up and just been thankful that they are safely in their car. You see, we need to challenge ourselves more often to be the kind of people that we want to be kind to us. Pull your chair up a little closer. I said, we need to be the kind of people that we want to be kind to us. How many times have we actually thought about that? Being kind to people that we want to be kind to us. Every situation is not what it appears to be. That goes for me too. Because we get ourselves in a rut and we start seeing homeless people, and we have all kind of reasons as to why. We have not challenged ourselves enough to put ourselves in their shoes. How do we do that? Let's start by asking ourselves, do we have to know the people to feel what they feel? How many times have you been touched by a story? You were touched by the story. And I want to go back to all of you who are our heroes for rescuing animals from bad situations. We're all touched by your stories. But you never think once when you have seen a stray dog or an abandoned dog or someone be mean to a dog, you don't know that animal story. That dog could be a vicious dog. That's not saying that it should be abused or abandoned. I don't believe in that. And I am with those who are people that say that's not tolerable and we will not stand for that. I get that. Let's be that more kindful. And I'm using the word kindful that stems from the root of kind toward people. See, our habit is that we judge them before we know their spectrum. We put them in categories instead of challenging ourselves to get to know the story. And even if we are not meeting them directly, we've already told their story without letting them speak. We can pay it forward by just being the kind of person that you want to be kind to you. I want you to think about this, and I want you on this finally Friday to challenge yourself. Sometimes we must challenge ourselves, because sometimes we are the lions that we have to challenge. In case you have never heard of that before, we challenge ourselves. How many of you have challenged yourself in the last week, month, or year? How's it working out for you? How does it work for you? We want to talk about that. Stay tuned. We'll be right back. Stay tuned. You want a one-on-one session with me as your live coach in real time? Get with us on our very personal page on Facebook at vibe-talk. We are there for you. We can virtually have your sessions anywhere that you are. Get with us. We're back. We're talking about challenging ourselves to be kind as you want kindness to you. Being the kind of person that you want to be kind to you. We're talking about that. So how about it? We are all people searching for love, kindness. When was the last time that you challenged yourself just to be kind to someone? Anyone. You don't even have to know them. You know, I challenge myself each and every day, and we want to have a heart-to-heart talk. I want you to use these few minutes to just reflect on kindness and when was the last time that you have actually experienced kindness, or you yourself have taken the opportunity to pay kindness forward. As we think about kindness, We want to help you to understand that kindness costs not one red cent. But yet every day we're challenging ourselves to do kind things. And here's what we do. Some of us are ordinarily just kind because you were born into kindness. Or could it be said that you're just a kind person? I know so many people like that. But now there are others of you that say, why should I be kind when they're not kind to me? Or what am I going to get? You see, the stories that I've helped you to appreciate could or could not come with attachment. It depends on you, the person, and how you're going to look at that. But now let's examine ourselves. If no one was kind to us, would we take it upon ourselves to be kind to others? We're going to go back to all of you who are heroic in rescuing stray animals. We applaud you for that. You are our heroes. Having not known the animal's story, your heart endeavors to make it safe for that animal. Not even thinking about if that's a bad dog or a bad cat, you rush to help him. We're so grateful that you do those things. But now, could it be to challenge yourself to be kind to the human species? More kindness. We don't have to know their stories. We don't have to even financially gain benefit, because it's costing me nothing to sit here and talk with you guys. But what I want is for someone somewhere out there to get the meaning behind the story. We know the reasons of why people are afraid. You're afraid. We are so grateful for the courageousness, your lion courage. But we want to hear from you. How has it helped you? Because we know that there are so many untold stories of your paying it forward, of your being kind. That's why we say here at Vibe Talk, we want to hear from you. Lines are open. Our lines here is 661-503-8993. That is a direct connect to Vibe Talk Facing the Lion. We also accept your voicemail and texting. And don't forget to tell us where you're from. Why is kindness a challenge of today? Well, if we just look around, we can see why people are afraid to reach out. But now I want to encourage you. Kindness can come in a form of smiling. How many of you have ever taken the opportunity to just smile? You see someone, they don't have to be doing anything spectacular, out of the ordinary, but when you walk next to a person, because you know what happens when you smile? Sometimes you're gonna get, that's right, a smile back. Now, here's another question. What does it take for you to smile? You can be the initiator of a smile. You know, we don't know, again, the stories of the people that we come into contact with. And coming into contact with a person doesn't mean that you're arm in arm with them. It just means that you have passed by or you have crossed paths. Remember, just as you have a story, they also have a story. They also have one. I'd like to tell you about a story that really moved me. If you don't have one, I certainly have one. There was someone that told this story and how the person met. One day a lady was getting into a car, her car, and as she was walking to her car, she noticed that the car that was on the passing or on the side wherever her car was, she saw a box of donuts. And you say, what was that lady doing looking in her car? You see how we are? Because that's the first thing I said. But I want to finish the story. The lady looked into the car and noticed that on the box of donuts there was a place that she had frequented with her now dead husband. So it brought back memories for her, experienced memories. Sad but bittersweet. She wrote a note and left it on the windshield. And she said, those donuts remind me of the times that my husband and I used to visit. Excuse me, I'm not taking a train. It's just passing by. She wrote that note, and the person responded to her. Well, what do you suppose happened? The lady began to tell the person, thank you for those memories. See, we never know what we can do to help a person. And we never know what we do that can trigger a person. For the good or for the challenged. We don't say bad around here because everything is challenge. Don't you feel like life is a challenge in itself? But you see, she paid it forward unknowingly, unbeknownst to that woman that was in that car. They both had not met each other, but just because of a simple box of donuts and the way that the donuts reminded her of her and her husband, because they always visited the place where she got the donuts. We never know what people are thinking. You know, we read signs, remember to be kind. But now do we remember that? You know, sometimes we walk around with what? Have you looked at the faces? We'll be right back. We're going to talk about that. We'll be right back. We're going to a commercial break. You want to get with me as your wellness or life coach? Find me on Vibe Talk on your Facebook. You can even ask Alexa or Siri to find Vibe Talk Facing the Lion podcast. We're back. Kindness. What can we learn from being kind? Well, In the time that I've spent with you in 40-something minutes, have you been inspired? Did you think of a story that someone paid it forward without even knowing? We realize that there are so many bumper stickers, so many emojis for kindness. I'd like for you all, as you hear the podcast, to be able to tell me what is the emoji for kindness. As you hear this podcast, please put it in our chat box. You can join us live. Our direct contact connect number 661-503-8993. We're also on Amped. Thank you, Amped. Thank you, Spotify. Thank you, iHeartRadio podcast. Thank you. Thank you for our very own Facebook Live. In case you're wondering how to get on the live, go click our page, Vibe Talk. You'll see us. Click on that, and as we come on, you can just join us live. So as you're listening to this, don't forget to tell us where you're from. We want to now talk about how kindness affects people. We never know what someone is going through. But here's my question to you. Do you always have to know what a person is going through to challenge yourself to just be kind? We're living in a world where kindness is becoming rare. But we're still out here. Kindness. Challenging ourselves. Each day is a challenge of something. Whether it's good, bad, ugly, we all are challenging ourselves. What have you challenged yourself with this week? And you don't have to be live. It's just when you hear this podcast. You may get it a month from now. You may get it hours from now. What have you challenged yourself with, and what inspiring stories do you have to tell? Kindness is paying it forward. Knowing how to exhibit goodness, goodwill to people without actually having it be known. You know, we live in a world that everybody wants to put a label. They want you to know that they did it. They did it. They want you to know their names. Now, that's up to individuals to understand the experience of that. But what I'm simply saying to you, how many times have you done something that was goodwill towards someone, of value towards someone, and you've never told a single soul? How many of you have actually done that? We want you to talk about it. You don't have to tell us your name. The experience of it. If you have experienced kindness, then you know how it makes you feel. Do you remember that time? That last time when you were kind to someone and you didn't tell a single soul? Now, what are the odds of me running into that family or that mother and her son again? What are the odds of that? We don't know. We don't know. But here's what we do know. That a life was touched. All because of paying it forward with kindness. You see, people are rich and they pay it forward when they're rich because they can. No bother? Because those people say money is no object. Money is no object. What can we take from here? You don't need money to pay it forward. You know, I have a lot of people who have come into Vibe Talk, who have been clients, who are clients, and they might say to me, what do you charge for the one-on-ones? If you need to change your life, what I want to show you, it is not dependent upon how much you can or cannot pay. It is an act of kindness, of paying it forward. And here's why. Vibe Talk has been dealing with emotions, feelings, your emotions, your feelings, my emotions, my feelings. All as a result of paying it forward. I have been watching on Streamline a very famous show, and it started in the late 60s, about the year that I was born, 1967. And the person got a pay it forward. And they said, when you make it in this business, do the same. Pay it forward. The kind and most humanist feeling that I appreciate about the person, though they are very celebrity famous, we all know that person and love that person. If I said the name, you automatically love that person. But I'm not going to say the name. Do you know why? Because the most humble thing about that person is they never told who paid it forward to them in order that they could get paid their tuition to go to these elite colleges. And oh yeah, they made it big. But now what if you had no money? Are you still helpless? There's no way you could help a person? Is that what you think about yourself? Oh no. Be a lion. Stand up courageously, because there's something about you. Something about you of value. And guess what? Come a little closer. I'm not going to tell you what it is. All I am is going to tell you is to discover something about you that is valuable. That yes, even you have the power to be able to pay it forward through a smile, through your words, through your actions. You know, Vibe Talk, we don't even know how many lives we're actually touching. We get to see our Vibe Talk reels. The numbers go up. People have watched us. We come up in our Facebook reels, our Instagram reels. You get to see it. We have never met you, some of you. And yet, you've become familiar with us. You like our reels. You like our podcasts that are streaming for your convenience. We don't know the possibility of how we have paid things forward. Here's what we know. Here's what we know. And I want you to feel this as you should. We don't know. But here's what we know. We know that we have touched your lives. Perhaps even change your life. We do know that There goes the train again, guys. Please pardon me. We are live for the moment. And we just want to let you know how we appreciate each and every one of you. When you hear us or see us, put a comment below. Tell us where you're from. Say hi to us. We never know how we can affect someone by choosing to be kind to the people that we want kindness from. In order to be kind or to have kindness, you must be kind. Now, we know we're living in a time where people don't always display that. What do you do with it? What are you going to do about it? The only person that you can change is yourself. We'll be right back. Stay with Vibe Talk Facing the Lion podcast. Be right back. You want to get with Vibe Talk Facing the Lions one-on-one session customized just for you? Reach out to Vibe Talk Facing the Lion. We are on Instagram and social medias. Remember the name, Vibe Talk Facing the Lion podcast. We are back, and thank you for joining us on this finally Friday. So we're talking about challenging ourselves to kindness and thinking about paying it forward through kindness. We want to hear from you. Yes, we do. Because you see, our podcast deals with emotions, challenged emotions, hidden emotions, experienced emotions, how you feel about it. So it gives you all the feels, and we're hoping that this one gives you the feel of finally Friday. Thank you for joining us. We are here, ladies and gentlemen, and we want to say how much we appreciate all of you. So you're faced with challenges. You look at the faces of people while you drive. You look at the faces of people as you pass them by. What's the feedback? The man to my left, the woman to my right, as they do what they do, nonetheless, not looking too happy. Perhaps you're going to be that person by your smile that is going to change things for them for that day, for that moment, for that hour. And they remember someone was kind enough to value them and smile. How many of you have ever had that happen to you? Where someone turned and you were really having a bad thought or a bad moment. And because of their smile, it made you ever so joyful. Because someone thought of you. Yes, that's right, you. They valued you enough to smile at you. No, they did not know your name. You did not know theirs. And what did you take away from that? Someone smiled at me today. Remember those words. Someone smiled at me today. How does it make you feel? You know, when people smile at me, I am a person that always wonders, why are they smiling at me like that? Let's challenge ourselves to just accept it. Are you up for the challenge? Are you up for the challenge just to say, today is Be Kind Day? Every day is Be Kind Day. Find that one person outside of your normal regimen of things. Remember, a smile costs you nothing. But a smile is more valuable and more priceless to the one who is in need of that. You're paying it forward. And see, that's how we should be. I want you to think about your being kind to others. Your being able to challenge yourself to be kind through your smile. To be kind through your thought. Because you see what it does? Kindness exchanges by your initiative. Not to millions, but to even one person of value. Let's think about that on our Finally Friday. And I hope that this podcast has helped you get inspired. Check out our reels. I think you're going to smile today. In fact, I know you're going to smile today. Remember, facing your lions means facing your challenges. Let's face the challenge to bestow kindness upon anyone today. Thank you for joining me. I want to thank all of our sponsors, all of the people who have reached out to us that help us know about them. We are now part of the AMP app family. Find us at Vibe-Talk. We're here for you. Stream us. Share us. Tell us your stories. Tell us where you're listening from. We appreciate you. Thank you. Our last question of the day is, what have you learned and discovered about yourself in this Finally Friday, Facing the Lion? Challenge yourself to kindness. What have you learned from this? Well, I will start with me. As host of Vibe Talk Facing the Lion podcast, I've learned that kindness hurts no one, but kindness values everyone. Do I challenge myself to be kind? Yes. See, I want you to know about me. Challenging myself to be kind as I face my own lions. But facing the lion and being kind to others really is a strength. I want you all to know that. And I've discovered in this podcast that I'm possible. I can pay it forward by just being kind. Is that a talent? Yes. How many of you understand that? I want to hear from you. Thank you for joining us. I want you to have an amazing weekend, and if you've been with us all week, thank you, and more thank you to you. Whatever you're doing this weekend, let us hear about it. If you're doing something that you want us to know about, if you just want to say hello to us, we're here. We thank you for being with us today, and we want you to make it a great, awesome weekend. We want you to be able to do that in a way that you choose best for you. We have reached the end of our podcast, and remember, Vibe Talk Facing the Lion podcast has Vibe Talk Facing the Lion Reels. Remember where to find us. We have a direct connect line just for you. You can also leave us with a voicemail, a text. We will always get them. Thank you so much from Southern California to wherever you are. Thank you again. This is Vibe Talk Facing the Lion, and we will see you next time right here on Vibe Talk Facing the Lions. Thank you all for being with us today.